Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle Beisaga and I am the crafty chick behind Shell's Beads. Today we are going to be working on this autumn inspired snow globe tumbler, complete with falling cascading leaves inside. This tumbler really was inspired by my favorite time of year, which is autumn. I absolutely love the colors, the smells, the feel, the temperature, everything about it is my favorite. So I wanted to kind of encompass all of those emotions that I get this time of year and create something that would bring joy to anybody who used it. So this is what we will be working on today, guys. A quick little note, this is a messy project. There is no other way to kind of explain it, so just make sure your work surface is prepped properly and that you keep any of your tools that you use for your actual two-part epoxy away from this project, because the glycerin in the solution we are using can cause some headaches with resin later on. So with that being said, if you guys are ready to get started, let's jump in. To get started, here are some tools that you will need. You're going to need a drill and 2 drill bits. I'm using a 5/16 and a much smaller drill bit so that I can drill a pilot hole. We found that by drilling a pilot hole, you eliminate the chance of cracking your acrylic material. You'll need some vegetable glycerin. I ended up having to run to Walmart, but I will link and list below the kind that I normally get off of Amazon. You are also going to need some kind of measuring cup and syringe or container to mix your stuff in. Now for the fun part, the glitter that we will be using. So I wanted to emulate falling leaves, so I have this gorgeous autumn leaf blend that I got off of Etsy. I will have the shop listed and linked below. And of course, my beautiful chaos glitter that I absolutely loved for this project. I chose Mint to Be and Shimmer Mix. The Shimmer Mix is a gorgeous champagne gold. There are a few other supplies that will make your life a lot easier: a stir stick to mix your solution, an X-Acto knife or blade to clean up any UV resin, and an extra clean syringe in case you need to extract any of the liquid. You're also going to need UV resin. I'm using the hard type, and you will need some sort of light curing source for it. You're also going to need some cotton rounds and some 91% alcohol to clean up your mess. Let's move on to drilling our cup. This is going to be where we place our mixture and our glitter, so it's really important to be careful during this step. As you can see here, we are drilling the pilot hole first. This is going to enable us to not crack that material. From there, we are going to change drill bits and we are going to put on the 5/16. He is drilling very, very carefully into this acrylic. You want to go extra slow and make sure that you are taking your time. You also want to kind of clean those little plastic bits off as you go so that they don't end up sinking down into the hole and becoming difficult to remove. You are going to hear what sounds like a cracking sound when you have broken through, and that is just seems to be common with these double-walled acrylic tumblers, and there is absolutely nothing wrong, and you have not broken your cup. Just beware when you hit that point to stop and back your drill out so that you don't risk cracking through to the second layer. As you can see, there's not a lot of space between that first and second layer, and it is quite possible to hit it and crack it. Now we're ready to mix our solution. This is where it gets a little bit messy and a little bit sticky, so make sure you have your area prepped and ready for this. I like to keep diaper wipes on hand to clean up any accidental messes. We are going to be measuring out a whole cup of solution for our cup, and to do that, I'm going to mix half a cup of the glycerin with half a cup of distilled water. I choose distilled water because I know that it is safe to use in an encased environment like the sealed double wall of this cup. I will also take a moment to talk about just how important it is to prep your surface before moving on to this step, because if you're like me and do resin in this area, you may also run into some contamination. If the glycerin gets on any part of your resin tools or you forget to wash the tools out and then go and use them for resin, it creates kind of like a resist and the resin will not cure. So just make sure that you're either working in a separate area or you're working well away from the areas where you do the resin, and don't mix the tools. What I did is I do use these same stir sticks to mix my resin. So after using the glycerin, I took them to the sink, washed them with soap and water, and then cleaned them with alcohol. This next step is prepping our cup to receive all of the fun ingredients that will go inside. I'm taking blue painter's tape to just kind of create a barrier along the bottom of this cup. Number one, it helps me contain all of that glitter. And number two, I really don't like using the funnel method because normally if you're going to block that hole to dump something in it, you have to drill a second pilot hole to allow air to escape. This method just helps keep everything in place. Now I'm going to move on to adding all of my glitters. I start with the mix that has the most dominant that I'm going to play with. And as you can see here, it's just kind of a process of tapping and pushing it through that hole. Most of it does get in there, and you can see that the tape stops whatever doesn't get inside. I'm going to just push this around with my finger, you know, get it in the hole any which way I can. And I'm going to repeat that process with all of the colors. I will have a view in a few seconds here of the front view of me doing this. I wanted to just kind of show you what it looks like as the glitter is cascading down. I drill a hole off to the side like this instead of in the middle because I don't want that glitter clogging in that center space, because all it's going to do is sit on that second layer inside the cup and not fall down into the sides. For any larger shaped glitter that you may want to put into your cup, I recommend having a pair of tweezers handy just so you can help manipulate it and get it into the hole without mutilating the pieces. I was lucky in that these leaves were perfectly sized to go in this hole without really needing any additional help, but I'm just showing you here how you might do it if you had maybe a larger piece of confetti or mylar. Once you have all your glitters loaded, this is basically how it looks from the front view, and you can see all the glitter has kind of cascaded down the sides of the cup. You can see me pushing in some of that mint to be and just making sure that it gets where it needs to go. You're also going to want to kind of shake it and tamp it down just to make sure that you have enough in. I try to stay at roughly no more than about a sixth to a fifth of the size of the cup. Now you see me adding our glycerin mixture using a syringe. You cannot pour this directly in because you have not drilled that second air hole. So using a syringe allows you to force the liquid in. As you can see here, periodically I tip the cup over to allow any air to escape and to just make sure that I'm getting as few air bubbles as possible. That will allow your glitter to move more freely and also prevent any clumping that you might have. You want to fill your cup up until the very top, and then you're going to want to top that hole with your finger, and you're going to just want to carefully turn this cup upside down and right side up several times just to make sure that you do not have any large air pockets or places where the glitter is preventing the solution from moving. You find if you don't do this, you may end up with a very large space at the top that you weren't even aware of. When you feel like you have it filled as high as it will go, remove the tape and we are going to move on to cleaning. This is the most important step of this project. Without it, you will not be able to seal the bottom of your cup. I am taking those cotton rounds that I showed in the beginning of the video, and I'm soaking them in 91% alcohol, and I'm cleaning every surface of the cup. From this view, you just see me cleaning the bottom, but I also clean the sides to prevent any contamination. From there, we are going to move into plugging that hole with our UV resin. This is my method of doing it. I know there are other people that plug this hole first with glue or those little furniture gum dots, but for me, I aim for the outside edge of the rim that we created and allow it to slowly fall into the mixture. Keep in mind that it won't fully cure down where it ends up hitting any of that glycerin mixture, but by doing it on the rim this way, it will end up creating a seal. I take it outside into my sunlight to cure. Unfortunately, my UV lamp bulb burnt out, so this is how I had to do it. From there, I go ahead and just take my Dremel and I lightly sand down that bubble of UV resin that we had. You want to be very careful not to sand down too far like you see me do here because I ended up cracking the seal just slightly. It's an easy fix. Clean off with some more alcohol and come back in with a second layer of resin. Once you have the cup where you would like it, you do need to add a protective layer of UV resin to the bottom of the cup. This will keep the cup level and it will also ensure that that first seal that you put on is completely closed off and that you won't have any leaking. I'm using the tip of a small silicone tool that I will have listed and linked below, and this just helps me get a nice even coat of resin all along the bottom of the cup. I fill in both that rim and that little indentation in the center with UV resin so that I have a nice, flat, solid bottom. For the bottom of the cup, I also decided to add a little bit of that shimmer mix glitter just to add a little bit more bling and to tie that look in together. I often add glitter to this center part to either give contrast or to kind of help hide the bottom of the cup. Once you have your resin on the way you would like, we're going to go ahead and take this cup and cure this layer as well. If you are using a UV lamp, this can take anywhere between 2 and 3 60-second cycles. If you're doing it outside, you will need to leave it outside for about 20 to 30 minutes in full sun. This is what it looks like when it's all done. Now we're going to add our decal, and this was my favorite part. It really tied the whole design together. I found this image on Creative Fabrica, and I will have that listed and linked in the description box below. Simply upload the image to your computer, get it into your Cricut, cut it out, and I also added a 0.08 offset to this. I wanted a nice thin line around it, and I wanted to back it on some white vinyl so you really saw that beautiful opal flare of that vinyl. The vinyl I am using is Solar Flare from the Vinyl People, and it is my absolute favorite color for this time of year. go ahead and remove your transfer tape, and we are just going to, I kind of shake up the glitter a little bit to kind of see where I might like this to fall. And once I have a place that I'm happy with, I go ahead and I eyeball the moon placement on here. This is really hard to get wrong because anywhere where you'd like it to show up on the cup is more than okay. Once you have that done, the tumbler is completely finished. This is it. There's no waiting for cure time, and you have a beautiful autumn-inspired tumbler. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it inspires you to create something that you love as well, and that is perfect for whatever season you love. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, give me a big thumbs up, and hit that bell button so you never miss a minute of the fun. You can check out my last video here, and as always, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all of your support. Until next time, stay creative.